All right, so UFC Austin is one of the last 3 cards of the year. It's in the books, it's over. And the only question on everyone's minds is, can Daddy finish with a 70% record this year? After this abomination, I might have shit the bed at the last minute, to be honest with you. All right, I called this one to go over 2.5. And to be honest, if they'd let this one continue, these broads would still be in there fighting. Jamie Lynn Horth is a total Goomba, and I told you if you bet on her, you were gonna be crying at the end. First 3 minutes, they pretty much stared at each other, which to be honest was ideal for me, as I was sneakily watching the football alongside it. That's soccer to you Americans. Hardy then decided to get going and was just so much faster with her hands. She dropped Horth twice in the first round. To be fair, they were more like flash shots. You know, they are females. The second and third rounds were a little bit closer. Hardy peppered her up at the beginning of round 2 and was clearly winning the round until she got taken down with a minute or so to go, which did lead to some nice arse angles, so, you know, excellent. Horth did land some ground and pound, but it was too little too late to win that round. She did win the third as Hardy tired. It wasn't the worst fight. Hardy has improved a lot. We saw Horth's level tonight. She's fucking snail level slow. Alright, speaking of fucking oafs. Alright, I admit to shitting the bed on this one, but who didn't? Wellington Turman is done out here. Gooden kept his hands down in the first round, which he's kind of prone to do, and got caught with some really decent shots that seemed to hurt him. Hard to tell with that gormless hangdog expression he has. It looks like he's had a lobotomy at times. As they both fell to the ground, and fell is the right word, Turman had a chance to lock in a rear naked choke, but Gooden has this really funny, like, P-shaped head that made it so easy for him to slip out, and Turman had to settle for ending the round on top. It was looking pretty good for him at this point. Now the second round was looking like we were falling into a familiar pattern until out of pretty much nowhere, the Night Train, is that a good nickname? I'm kind of undecided, caught him with a check right that fucked Wellington's shit up. You could see he was cooked, and Gooden was able to finish him by sub on the ground. Very nice win. Yeah, this one was fucking wild. Like, what a scrap. Firstly, massive credit to Pretoria. I thought he was going to get fucking cream pied, and nope, he was actually the better fighter. For the first 4 minutes of the first round, Ihor was catching him at range with slick speed and accuracy, and Bellato looked like a dumpy, plodding sack of garbage. I've seen mating sloths hump faster. I assume Bellato would have had the takedown threat if the fight went this way, but nope. Horrible entries. No explosivity, nothing. At the end of the round, Bellato managed to close the distance and opted to stand in the fire and just go for clinched knees, which were pretty effective. And a knee to the bollocks definitely took the wind out of Ihor's sails. He was told by his corner to take Ihor down in a second. And did he listen? Did he fuck? He got molly-whopped at the start of the round with a vicious elbow, and Ihor rained down massive hammer fists. Credit to the ref for stopping it. I probably would have. Unfortunately for Ihor, he puffed himself out going for the finish, and Bellato managed to get on top and land nasty ground and pound. I feel like I got away with one here, and so did Bellato, or as Money Mike calls him, Bellator. Broken English is really funny. Don't bring your kids to a UFC event unless you're fighting Joe Solecki. I have a confession to make on this one. I did pick Solecki, but I actually snaked everyone at the last minute and bet on Jakar Klose. Worst possible start for Jakar, as he got taken down immediately, and I thought, fuck's sake, here we go, gay corn time. Solecki was trying to position himself to get to the back though, and got a little bit overzealous, and Jakar ended up on top. Solecki, who is pretty decent on the ground, tried to lock in an arm lock, and Jakar just picked him up and dunked him on the side of his head. Out cold. It's not the first time we've seen this type of knockout. And spoiler alert, it wouldn't be the last time on this card. Levitt did something similar a few years ago, but not on the side of the head like this. Jakar called for an easy fight. That makes him the easier check, and that was kind of funny to me. Way to keep it real, mate. Before I get into the next fight, by the way, they did a vignette on Alias the Spartan Thidero, who sadly died of cancer last year at just 32 years old. As someone who's lost people to cancer and has kids myself, to hear his parents reflect on his life, it certainly whipped hard a little bit. Link to the foundation will be in the description below, by the way. Alright, how the fuck does Cody Brundage keep getting away with this shit? He is fucking terrible. Apparently picking someone up and smashing them on their heads is a grade A way to win a fight. Who knew? Brundage managed to take Reece down way too easily, which to be honest was not the worst place for Reece to be. He is pretty good off his back. His jiu-jitsu is on point. Well, usually. So he locks in an arm triangle choke, and frankly, I'm licking my chops like a vulture at this point. And Brundage just picks him up and drops him hard on the side of his head. I was stunned. To be fair, he actually seems like a decent fella, and I need to stop betting for or against this guy. He's constantly fucking with my money, the inconsiderate prick. Alright, this was the cupcake versus the ironing boards. I've been criticized a lot in the past for talking about women as sexual objects. I'm happy to do it with the guys as well if you want parity, but do be careful what you wish for. I could make this very uncomfortable for everyone. I'm shameless out here. Miesha Tate dominated this fight. She figured out from the offset that if she pushed Avila to the fence, she could take her down, and Avila had nothing to get up off her back. No scrambles, no sense to get to the feet on hips, no submission threat on the ground. Credit to Avila for surviving by the third, but her will was broken, and she ended up submitting to a neck crank. This was turning into my second losing card of the year, and I needed to pretty much finish flush on the main card to turn it around. Oops. Another fat L on this one. I picked Puna for a few reasons. He's trained by Eric Nurksik at Syndicate MMA, which is known to be a dog pit. That's Strickland's gym for all you filthy casuals out there. I've got no excuses though. Puna was trying throughout the entire fight to throw a huge left, and you could see it coming from a mile off. He did catch Stoltzfus a few times, but ultimately he got body and leg kicked, which you could see was taking its toll. And as he got sloppy at the end of the first round, Stoltzfus dropped him, and you could see that he'd pretty much given up. If you throw in a few takedowns and an RNC later, Stoltzfus gets the win in the second round. Puna's just not good enough at this level, and is dumb as fuck. Personally, I'd cut them both, but Puna definitely needs to be given his marching orders. He's one-dimensional, and he's dumb. Goodbye. Yeah, this was a fun scrap again, and for me, was pretty clear to score. Guida was doing what Guida does and twitched around like a fucking meth addict, and Silva was trying to line up and find the perfect killer shot. The notable moments were pretty much Silva finding a nice shovel uppercut that hurt Clay while he zipped around. Damage took him the round. In the second round, Guida applied some pressure and landed more, so he won that round. And then in the third, Clay was tiring down, and after 6 failed takedown attempts throughout the fight, he just got picked off at range a little. One thing I can't really understand though is that Silva is an excellent BJJ practitioner, and Guida has lost most of his fights getting choked out. Strange game plan getting drawn into Guida's style of fight, but it worked this time. He got the win, and I pretty much called this one perfectly. Yeah, Kelvin Gastulum's done. This was total domination. Brady took him down and kept him down for 2 entire rounds. Kelvin is a fat fucking bantamweight with 40% takedown defense, and I felt like after watching Bilal pressure forward and beat Brady up, that Gastulum could potentially do the same. Nope. Bilal did have that ground threat, and Gastulum has nothing. He basically looked like a fat turtle flipped on his shell. It's amazing that someone that experienced could be that wank on the ground. Eventually the pressure basically told, and after being taken down again with ease in the third, Brady found a Kimura and just tapped him out. He asked for Ian lesser to Gary Machado, which given the horrendous fucking beating that Cuck has had over social media this week, felt like an opportune call out. Honestly, I think Gary would beat him up, but it's only likely to happen if Luque beats him. It was a nice win for Brady. Gastulum needs to get in the gym and never fight a wrestler again. Or just retire. Yeah, this was a great performance by Davidson Figueiredo. In the breakdown, I said that Font was going to be a little too big and was going to be better landing straights in there. I also felt Davidson would be too small to land takedowns. Wrong. First round was close, with Rob Font pretty much in charge of the round by stuffing 2 takedowns and establishing the jab. Davidson did steal the round though by wobbling in with a shot towards the end of it. In the remaining 2, Figgy was growing into it and clearly had a stronger cardio base at this weight class. He landed 4 takedowns, a record for him in any fight. He knew he could take Font's jabs at that point and had him badly hurt twice to clearly win both final rounds. Figgy winning in this division is better, as Font is a level below the top, but I think Figgy is going to have big problems when he runs into some of the guys in the top 5. He passed this test though. Font is a tough out. Yeah, this was an early stoppage. if you wanted green dead. Yeah, this was a typical green fight. Hands low, looking to land that shot. He was always going to land and get a KO or get KO'd, and this time he was on the end of one. Green was doing well to avoid the shots early on, but when you fuck around as often as he does, more often than not, you get fined out at this level, and Jalen eventually found a check right that wobbled him. Another shot put him down, and Hatley stood around watching while Jalen added some more unnecessary brain damage, landing massive blows as he was pretty much flatlined on the ground. This was a horribly late stoppage. I suspect we're not going to be seeing Hatley in there again. This was not his first mistake. He's going to get someone killed in there. Yeah, what can I say about this one? This was unreal. Benil just got fucking murdered in there. He was throwing hard and missing for about like 40-50 seconds. Then Arman threw him knee up the middle and then took his head off with a right over the top before his knee had even come back down. This was a statement, brutal win, and a just, yeah, fantastic result for Arman. Brutal KO. And this took me to, I think it was 4-7 on the card, 5-7 on the card, which isn't my best, but you know, it is what it is. So here's the overview of how the card went. As I said, it was only my second losing card of the year, which is not bad. That dropped me down to a record of 310-138, which on the year, I'm not going to complain about. Did manage to lose a little bit of money on this one though, so I'm a bit pissed about that. Back down to 69%. I'll be back on Tuesday to break down the next cards. So see you all then and have a wonderful week. One more thing, do check out the fight franchise. I'm going to leave a link to that in the you know, the little boxes at the end of the video. We did a pod recently about the best strikers in the UFC, and let's just say there were some pretty mixed results on that. So if you haven't checked that already, check that one out. Yeah, see you all on Tuesday and look out for more pods on his channel. And yeah, I'll see you then.